Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
That's right. It's another episode of the Changing Stage radio show powered by WS Radio Networks and brought to you by Pitbull Audio, where audio is your source. And we also are brought to you by SIR, our new sponsor that came on board for music equipment to the corporate and to the concert world. And we have a very special guest. We're talking about the big shows that are coming up this month. We have Mr. Chris Valentine. He is the event producer from South by Southwest Interactive. Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Awesome.
Happy January.
Yes, Happy New Year for sure, sir.
Yeah.
And we also have my co-host, Miss Barbara Leong. She is from Remix Noise Management, and she is part of the management team for John Beasley and Brendan McCrary, and she's here for John's performances at the big jazz conference that they're having down here. So,
always great to be here. Thanks, Florentino.
So, hey, Chris, so many good things going on this month, and you're part of a really big festival called South by Southwest, and most people really see it as a music festival, which it is. It's the best one, I think, in the country. I've actually been there. I've actually been a part of your portion of it, the interactive. I had a .com that I was working at, and we came out and showed our wares there. But you guys, you have the interactive portion. You also have the movies to go along with that. So tell us a little bit about this. Tell us a little bit about how music came about to bring about all these other cool entertainment/technology vehicles.
Yeah, so South by Southwest started like 35 years ago in Austin, Texas. And, I mean, it started out as just a small little conference festival. And about 10 years later, they decided to add two components, which were film, and the interactive. And what's happened through the years is having all three of those conferences happen simultaneously. In the last, I would say, 5 to 7 years, the interactive part has really just kind of taken a life of its own. And it's just become these kind of three-tier types of things where you've got, the highest level of musicians coming. A few years ago we had Bruce Springsteen as a keynote. Last year was Dave Grohl with Foo Fighters. But then you're talking about film that's happening. You've got people like Jodie Foster, Matthew McConaughey. And the highest level there, because people are now releasing films, and it's another large platform to have people do that. But then the part that I focus on is interactive, and really within the interactive part, I focus on the startup component. So I produce all the startup programming within that. Okay. And that's really, I think for South by South, there's two things that have spurred the growth. The first was social media with things like Twitter became known in the startup ecosystem through South by Southwest. And then it was the startups. And the startups part about 6-7 years ago really kind of took off. And I've been kind of involved in all that as it's happened with South by Southwest.
Wow, awesome! That's amazing. I know that when I went, it was a great experience. We had all the musicians that came in and would talk to us about a technology that we had. It was a interactive piece that we were marketing to musicians. Tell us a little bit about how that's grown. Who are some of the exhibitors that they can expect, and how big is it now as a way of the footprint of the facilities?
Yeah, so from an attendance standpoint, and it just depends on. You're still talking about last year's numbers, but my understanding was for the interactive part, we'll have 30,000 people attending just for the interactive. Now, this is there was some economic development things done, and I think for the conference itself, it generates over 100. I think there's 150,000 people that will attend. Over the 11 days for all three parts, which is music, film, and interactive. That includes badge holders and non-badge holders. Okay. And then it's bringing in over $200 million to the city during that time. And really, when you think about it, this is the place where it brings over that timeline the highest level of influence. So if you're from music, film, and interactive, you're getting the highest levels. So you'll have everything from like the Googles of the world to the Facebooks, and then you'll also be working with a lot of the startups, which is kind of early stage companies.
Yeah.
I had the good fortune of kind of being able to showcase a lot of the early stage companies which is always exciting to me because what you see year in year out is companies who have had success come back, and then they end up getting involved in other ways to get involved in the conference.
Yeah, I think that's totally cool because that's actually what I've always kind of gotten from South by Southwest, that it's all about the discovery of the new and up and coming. And that's kind of what we were doing when we went there. I've seen some companies. I mean, I remember Google being there, and they weren't quite the same. This was back in 2000 when we were there, and they were big, but not anywhere what they are now today. So it's awesome seeing some of these companies that are grow. Who are some of the cool companies that are going to be these up and comers that are going to be at the event this year?
Yeah. Well, we're just finalizing who the companies are for 2015 event.
Okay.
But I can kind of give you some examples of some of the companies who have been involved in the past. So when I talk about the Startup Village, and I also produced an event called South by Southwest Accelerator, which is an early stage platform. It's a platform to allow early stage companies to pitch their product or services. So think like a Shark Tank type of event.
Okay.
And we'll have 48 companies pitching over 2 days during the conference. And the companies who've been involved with South by Southwest in the past, and just to kind of give you an idea of what those companies look like, is they have secured. We're not a funder, but the companies who've been involved have secured over $1.78 billion in funding. So it tells me we're choosing some of the right companies. And the most profile one, and I saw this company, I think it was early on, less than a year before they had really kind of become known, was Siri. So we found Siri early on.
Oh, wow.
And then there's things...
Small company
so
now, right? Now it's bought by Apple, right?
Yeah. This was long before Apple ever got their hands on them.
Yeah.
But we've worked with other companies like Food Spotting, which I'm not sure if you're there's just kind of what's one of the bigger ones that's had a lot of success recently. I'm trying to think of what that company's name is. So I'm drawing a blank real quick. But there's just been some really kind of huge successes with regards to early stage companies. The idea that what we're trying to do is to allow early stage companies to be showcased, in a larger conference. There's so much that happens during this conference.
Yeah.
We're creating that platform to allow them to kind of get involved, and hopefully be able to kind of fight through some of the noise. That's the exciting part that I get to focus on.
And it sounds like it is. We have someone who's actually going to be attending the conference here, Barbara, who as I mentioned, she's the manager of John Beasley, she's part of the management team of John Beasley, who's a jazz great, as well as Brendan McCurry. Her and her crew are going to be going out there. She's got a question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that South by is one of the largest beds for creatives and of all different industries. And I was wondering, like, for first timers going in, it can be pretty overwhelming experience. I was wondering if you have any advice for these first timers.
For first timers, well, I think the thought there is a couple things. I think one thing you want to always consider is you really have to be prepared. And I know that will sound kind of crazy, but you really need to kind of be thinking about what are the things that I want to do there. You want to see who's coming to the conference. If you want to try to get meetings scheduled, try to get those scheduled beforehand, as many as you possibly can. You also want to, if you're interested in seeing some panels, you want to think about, okay, for each panel I want to go to, you want to have some backup options. A lot of the rooms hit capacity. There's so many people who are trying to go to these panels that you always want to have like some backup plans. And one of the things I always tell people really is just to be open to the possibility. So I can't tell you how many times, and I work the event, but I still get to occasionally go to a session here and there. You'll oftentimes meet really interesting people just sitting right next to you when you randomly sit down, or in line and getting into a room, or going to get some coffee, or going to the restroom. And so you want to be open to the possibility of just who you're going to be meeting, and just be very fluid to the things you'll hear. And a lot of times what you'll just see is you'll be walking one direction, all of a sudden somebody's like, hey, did you hear this is happening over here? And you have to kind of say, what's more important, and just go with that. And so, I looked at the program book a few years ago. I just happened to open it up. And I was like, people are always telling me how large this conference is. And so I thought, well, how many sessions are actually happening at one time? And I saw 41 panels happening at one 1-hour block. And so that doesn't include like all the meetups, the lounge areas, all the other kind of parties, all the other things that are going on. And so that's what I'm saying. There's a certain level of like being open to the possibility. And then you also have to kind of figure out, because it takes over all of downtown Austin, you really want to be focused on where do you want to kind of be and kind of use that as your base, because it's impossible to kind of have to jump all over downtown just because you'll race across town and try to get to a session, and then it's like, well, you've either missed it because you caught something on the way, or the room's at capacity. I'm not saying you won't get into the room, but there's still always those possibilities, and so you just want to be open to that type of thing.
Yeah, that's really great advice. It sounds like you have to be really strategic about who you want to collaborate with, what you want to learn, what you want to get out of it, and also that geographic, different restrictions. That's really great advice.
Yeah, I do think you want to be that way, and I think the other thing you want to do is wear comfortable shoes. And this is probably the most important thing I'll tell both of you about the thing you want to do. This is what I do for every event. This is the only thing that's made me not lose my voice. Because think about it, every time you go to these events, you lose your voice.
Yeah.
Lots of cough drops.
Yeah, there you go. Which kind?
Just keep popping up.
Yeah, definitely. Cough drops are definitely a good thing. Hey, we're going to be going to a commercial break here. We're going to be bringing you back for the second segment, Chris, so stay tuned. We've got some commercials going on. I just want everybody to know about the website. It's www.sxsw.com/interactive. INTERACTIVE. Make sure you go check it out. We're going to be talking more about South by Southwest Interactive in a few short minutes. Florentine on the Changing Stage radio show, powered by WS Radio Networks and brought to you by Pitbull Audio and SIR Music Equipment.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goley, one thing that you have helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get to the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
I have some good news for a change. With the stressful times upon us, having a regular glass of wine has proved in many studies to reduce stress. Want some more stress-relieving tips? VinVillage.com is an exciting new social organization connecting wine lovers around the country with an exclusive local and online wine lifestyle experience. Vin Village members can meet others online and in person, attend wine dinners and tastings, participate in forums, blogs, and wikis, purchase limited and exclusive wines, even create your own wine. You heard me. Create your own wine. And best yet, membership is free. So reduce some of the stress and have some fun. Join now and connect with thousands of other like-minded wine lovers. To learn more, go to vinvillage.com. That's www.vinvillage.com. Vin Village is where wine lovers connect.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, vinvillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
We are back for the second segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by WS Radio Networks and brought to you by Pitbull Audio and SIR Music Equipment. And we have Mr. Chris Valentine and Barbara Leong back with us. Hey, Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Hey there.
Awesome, sir. So, hey, we were just talking about how expanse the show has grown to be. What are some of the things that that people can expect when it comes down to music technologies that are coming out right now? Because quite a bit of it is tied into the music portion of it, and as you may well know, our listenership is really in the music business or players or music technology companies. So, who are some of the exhibitors that will be coming out that kind of focus in on that area?
Well, I'm actually not focused a whole lot on the music component of the conference, and you want to think of it as three large individual components. I think the thought would be I can tell you that kind of on an overall and if you feel like I'm going in the wrong direction, we can shift it in a different place. But I can talk about some of the bigger trends that are happening at the conference if that will help. And I don't know if it's so much specific to music, but just overall as a conference focus.
Yeah.
And so, there's a couple of big things that I'm seeing, and I would just say this as a whole. And I think that, again, with the understanding that I have a kind of a startup spin on it, and I think the two biggest things that I'm seeing is the globalization of the startup ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And so, in the sense of like we're looking now from a startup ecosystem on a global scale. It's no longer just in different parts of the country, and so you're seeing more and more startups from around the world looking for ways to kind of get involved with other companies, from everything from expansions to talent funding and marketing and events efforts. And so I think this relates not just to startups, so this can also relate to the music industry. Yeah. So when you're thinking about building a company or a product, I think that you want to secure and develop a strong base, but you want to think globally, and I think music is very much a global type of thing. And then I think the other thing that we're seeing, or at least I'm seeing more and more with regards to it, is like innovation and efficiencies. And so what I mean by that is that I feel like there's some core technology that have been kind of foundational, have been established, 3D printing, drones, Internet of Things, those types of things, smart homes and all those types of things. And I think that we're now into the next phase of that with regards to, it's kind of building those things out and making those more a part of our lives. And you think about like wearable technology last year, I think people thought it was going to hit with Google Glass, and there was a lot of pushback there. I think Google Glass will be more focused on enterprise related types of technologies and things like that. But I think, when you're thinking about, the different types of tech sectors, you're thinking about the next level. You're talking about, enterprise, big data, wearable, Internet of Things, health, social, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you're talking about developing some sort of music startup, is there types of things that you can kind of integrate that into some of those things? Because I think those marketplaces are getting stronger, which means there'll be greater resources that will be able to support those types of things. And so with kind of a music-focused type of company, specifically in the startup ecosystem, I think you'll be able to. So those are like the two big things that I'm seeing coming out of with regards to kind of there. I hope that helps with what you're asking.
It does, because it just seems how much it's grown. So in 2000, when we actually, this 2001, I think, when we went out there, a lot of the companies that were in the interactive section were music focused. That's why I guess maybe my mind thought that that there was still that type of focus, because it was so instrumental with the music portion of it. But it just sounds like now it's huge. At some point you guys might be rivaling CES. It's in my mind, at least, from technologies, and then also showing the interactive growth.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen as far as attendees, people coming to the conferences, they used to want to go like, oh, I want to come and I have a film company that's but if you think about it, technology is in part of every part of our lives.
Yeah.
And so if you're a filmmaker and you're not embracing technology and learning about what the new innovations are out there, you're really going to be prohibiting yourself from having a certain level of success. And it may not be that you have to know that technology, but you need to have people around you who can understand it and understand, how do we do this more efficiently? How do we do this smarter? How do we do this more? There's so many different types of factors. And then think about music. I mean, music is all about technology. So a lot of times what you end up finding, a lot of engineers are musicians on the side.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so, the brain is kind of a similar type of way of thinking for a lot of musicians. And so, and they use music as a way. That's their creative outlet. And then at some point they go, well, I've got a family. I need to take care of them. I'm going to become. How do I do that? And they may still do music, but they look at two different ways. But I think music technology, is completely embraced. Those two have kind of crossed over. And I think that's what's happened with South by as a whole. Is there's this convergence component that's happening. So we used to have a trade show, which I don't focus on trade show, but I would say that the trade show component used to be almost three different types of things. Now it's just merged into one. Because what we're seeing is that people who are attending, if you're attending and you have a music focus, which I know you do, you're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go to the music part. It's like, no, actually, you want to go to all three. Now, maybe less film, maybe not, I don't know, but I would think that it's going to be music, and then you're going to want to know the technology types of things where it can kind of where that crosses over. And so why not put them all into one place as opposed to treating them as three separate entities? And I think that's what we've had to do as a conference the last few years, is to realize that they're not separate, although they're still perceived separate from outside looking in. Yeah. But for us, we need to make sure that people think of them as one, because they really are as one. And I think that's the differentiator that we offer. I go to a lot of different conferences, and what you oftentimes see is there's kind of individual focus. Yeah. We're one of the few conferences that merges all three of those together.
And do it well.
I think that's what makes us exciting. Yeah. And do it well, and to have a large scale. I keep seeing these new conferences popping up. We're the new South by Southwest, and I'm always going like, no, you're not. I build what's creative and unique to you. We've been doing this for so long. It's going to be hard to be the new anything. Be feed off of your strengths, build off of your strengths. But we've been doing this for a long time, and appreciate what we're doing, and then create something unique for yourself, and let people come to your event for that, not for what we're trying to do.
Exactly. And what the cool thing is, you kind of bring in rock stars from other arenas and other industry verticals. You've got some great keynote speakers and guest speakers and feature speakers from politics to science. Can you tell us about a few of those folks? There's one in particular that's like the rock star of rock stars right now. That's I think the main keynote speaker.
I know that we oftentimes, in the past, we've oftentimes get the highest profile types of things. So I've seen everyone from Al Gore to Elon Musk. Yeah. A couple years ago, I saw Prince. I saw Prince at a 500-person venue.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, I referenced Bruce Springsteen a few years ago and Dave Grohl. We're talking about the highest level. And I oftentimes say, one of the advantages for me getting to work with South by Southwest, and in my world, I oftentimes get to work, and especially with the startup stuff, I work with the 1%. And I think that when you're coming to South by Southwest, I think that's one of the great advantages that you get. You get the 1% in technology who are speaking on the stage, but then you also get the masses who are all still at the highest level are just there. Yeah. And I think that one of the things that makes this conference different is now there is some people who just kind of fly in and fly out, but I think that one of the things, I can't tell you how many times I've just been walking down a hallway and say like, oh, that's Tim Draper. He's a billionaire. He owns DFJ. Or there's Robert Scoble, or there's Guy Kawasaki, and they're just walking the hallways, and they're open and accessible to people. I think a lot of times what happens when you go to these conferences, they get up on stage, they do their presentation, and they're quick to get out the door in some sort of transportation and off to their next thing. So I think that there's this accessibility that you don't get with any other types of conference. I think that's one of the things that makes it special.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the rock star we were talking about, we're all big fans of Neil deGrasse Tyson over here. So we always talked about how he's kind of a rock star without being a rock star as a scientist. So I think...
Yeah. And that's the other thing that I would say is that we're oftentimes finding, so one of the things that South by Southwest tries to do every year is have a mixture of new and kind of people who are kind of just about to kind of peak, and I peak in a positive way. Like they're about to come across, kind of a consciousness of a larger. And I think that's what's happened with him last year. I mean, we got him just before he kind of, just before that show came out, and just before he kind of all of a sudden, like everyone seemed to know who that was.
Gotcha.
And he's been around for a while. And so we're, I'm talking about these high profile, but we're always looking for newer types of things. I do it from a startup perspective, but South by as a whole is always saying, okay, who are the next wave of innovators?
Yeah.
Who are the next types of people who are coming down the pipeline, and how can we showcase that?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing show, Chris. I know that we're all looking forward to this one and many more to come. And we thank you very much for being on the show. Again, that URL is SXSW.com. INTERACTIVE, or I forgot the / before the interactive. Make sure you guys go out and see that. I think Barbara wanted to tell us a bit about her organization having a big event coming up.
Oh, yeah. There is a Balanced Breakfast Showcase. It's right in between interactive and the music portion of South by Southwest. And it's going to be at the Jackalope on 404 East 6th Street from 12 to 6 p.m. So you can look out for us there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Chris and Barbara, for being on the show today. Just an amazing time, amazing conferences. We're going to be talking to the NAMM folks very shortly as well. This is the Changing Stage radio show, powered by WS Radio Networks, brought to you by Pitbull Audio. Go online to pitbullaudio.com, as well as if you need gear, talk to SIR. This is Florentino, and I'll be back shortly.
The Penske Automotive Group is one of the premier automotive retailers in the country, and we're proud to serve Southern California with 15 Penske Automotive dealerships. Our dealers are home to some of San Diego's best selection of new and certified pre-owned Acura, Audi, BMW, Honda, Lexus, Mazda, Mercedes-Benz, Mini, Scion, Smart, and Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Plus, we offer some of the most comprehensive parts and service departments in the automotive industry. At Penske Automotive Southern California, our commitment to customer service is second to none. We're never satisfied until you are. Located across San Diego, from Escondido to Mission Valley, no matter where you are in Southern California, a Penske Automotive dealer is never far away. We're never satisfied until you are. The Penske Automotive Group, Southern California. Go to PenskeAutomotive.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you're unique and targeting your message, improving your open rates. Amplify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life, live it well.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.